He says reports suggest that many people want the deadline to be shifted for reasons ranging from their inability to gain access to the new notes or deposit their old currencies. I must say here that unfortunately I don't have good news for those who feel that we should shift the deadline. My apologies. The reason is because, just like the president had said on more than 2 occasions, and even to people privately, that for us 90 days, in fact, we feel is 100 days is enough for anybody who has money or the old currency to deposit it, the money in the banks. And we took every measure to ensure that all the banks were open or remain still open to receive all old currencies. 100 days, we believe, is more than adequate. We called on the banks. We said, not only are we requesting you to extend your banking hours so that you can receive old currencies, but we're also asking you to keep your doors open on Saturdays. Ladies and gentlemen, the banks did not have any reason to even keep their banking halls open on Saturdays. Neither did they see the kind of rush that they anticipated. Oh, there were normal people who came in to deposit money into the banks. And maybe in the course of time, I'll also give you details about how much had come in. So we do not see any reason to begin to talk about a shift because people could not deposit their old monies into their banks.
Nobody is going to collect a transfer because there is no network even to do the transfer. So they went with cash to give my people. I appreciate that. But the cash they went there with is grossly inadequate compared to what is available in the hands of my constituents. Let me give you an example. There is one community. I even emphasize it on the floor of the House. This community is sharing boundary with Cameroon Republic. It's called Kirawa. Everybody is aware that Kirawa is an international market because there is a transaction across the border. We have customs house there, we have immigration houses there, and we have a lot of agents of coercion operating there. They gave them only 1 million naira. And the 1 million naira they gave them 1,000 naira denomination. So they accepted in good faith because it's just like a drop in a sea. After collecting this 1 million naira, they took it to Kirawa. They shared it to people. Some people changed 10,000, some people 5,000, some people 20,000 maximum, because we put a regulation. We don't want a situation whereby Boko Haram members can come with a huge amount of money and exchange. So we give it to people with control. You cannot be accepted except if you are identified by the traditional ruler of your community. So by the time they took this money and give it to people, if you go to buy something of maybe 200 naira, you know you are expecting change of 800 naira. Where can you get it? The new notes are not there, and the old notes are not accepted anywhere. If you give somebody a new note to buy something, it's not going to collect. If somebody bought with a new note, and at the end of the period, you want to give him change with the old note, he's not going to collect. So this is the challenge we have. Another thing, we saw on newspaper publications in both print and electronic media that bankers are complaining they don't have enough. This shows CBN is putting the cart before the horse. Even in the advanced world, where they have been practicing cashless society for donkey years, they do phased withdrawal of alt notes, not forced withdrawal of alt notes. They are two different phrases. You do it phased. You phased it out gradually. In other words, the two currency will be working sacrosanct, side by side. So that at the end of the period, any old note that enters bank is not coming out again. At the end of the day, you can search for an old note you will not get. This is how it's supposed to be. But the way CBN is doing, it's like CBN is trying to coerce Nigerians to lose their money. This is why we said we have to pass a resolution to constitute an ad hoc committee to be led by the leader of the House, to be clerked by the clerk of the House of Representatives, and some reliable and powerful members of the House to interface with the CBN tomorrow and other members of the Bankers Committee. That is the reason why we had that resolution.
Now, a lot of people have said that this policy was initiated to, let me say, witch hunt politicians, looking
Yes.
at the urgency
Yes.
that the CBN puts in
Yes.
initiating this policy.
Yes.
Do you agree with that policy?
There is nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong in having that impression. There is nothing wrong in having that impression. Because this government came into being in 2015. Barely 8 years now. They didn't bring this policy. Until when now we have less than 6 months to, in fact, 3 or 4 months to election. They brought this policy. Politicians can feel as if they want to witch hunt them, especially for those of us operating where there are no banks. On election day, you have to pay your agent. If your agent is not an account holder, how are you going to pay him to safeguard and protect the integrity of your vote on the election day at polling units? 2, you have to transport agents. In transporting them, you have to pay, hire vehicles that can convey them from one location to the other. For instance, from local government headquarters to what headquarters, from what headquarters to polling unit. And at the end of the period, you have to provide logistics also to transport them back to collection center so that they cannot be robbed. You have to use money to do that. So, if you are telling politicians that they shouldn't hold cash on election day for them to run all this, particularly in our area where substantial number of our constituents are not account holders because they are discouraged to be financially included because we don't have banks operating in our place. Let me tell you one thing. Any child that was born 10 years back, he didn't know that bank exists in the world because he has never seen one. So this shows that somebody that was born 10 years back is not aware of banking system. So if you ask him to open an account, he will be thinking as if you want to rob him. Another thing, we are all aware, Northeast sub-region used to be poorest of the poor in all the geographical zones in this country. It's in the record. You can go and check. And our situation was further worsened by Boko Haram insurgents. I swear to Almighty, go and verify. There are multimillionaires that I know before the insurgents. Today, they have to beg for what to eat for a day. How will you feel that? Had it been in your life, you have never held a penny. This thing happened, you will not feel anything. But you have billions of naira, or you have millions of naira, you are doing your business, you have like 10 tankers, you have 10 trailers, plying the roads, generating money on daily basis, and now you have to queue up in an IDP camp to collect 1 mood of rice or 1 mood of guinea corn. How will you feel? So we know the situation our people are. And now CBN is bringing policy that is going to affect us. The policies are good. There is nothing wrong in changing currency. There is nothing wrong in swapping currency. There is nothing wrong in introducing cashless policy. But it doesn't have to be forced out of people. There is nothing wrong in doing it on faces. There is nothing wrong in facing it out. But you shouldn't force it out. I hope you got what I'm saying. So this is our position. Our position is let it be extended to at least 6 months for people to be able